This is your Senior Moment, brought to you by Senior Guide USA, with your host, Lee St. John.
Hi, this is Lee St. John with your Senior Moment, and I'm delighted today to have Roget Berendes. Now, did I pronounce that correctly, Roget?
That is correct.
Oh, wonderful. Now, Roget is from Hearthside Home Care, and today we're going to talk about companionship and care in your own home. So welcome, Roget.
Thank you. It's delighted to be here.
Now, first of all, before we get into the subject itself, tell us a little bit about Hearthside Home Care. Where did that start? How did you get involved? Fill us in.
Hearthside Home Care started in 1999 as a truly private and firm, locally owned, locally managed by a lady by the name of Tina Glenn, who had a vision that the Triad region of North Carolina had a definitive need for somewhat for individuals to come into your home to take care of your loved one, your friend, your neighbor, whomever it may be. Hearthside Home Care is the first, or one of the first, in the Piedmont Triad region of North Carolina. We are still locally owned by Tina Glenn, not a franchise and not a national concern, and we epitomize care and commitment and attention to detail for each and every one of our clientele.
Lovely. And so with regard to home care, so for those people that they may have heard the term, but they're not exactly certain what home care really means.
Well, home care is where one resides, whether it be an apartment, whether it be a retirement community, or even temporarily in a nursing home or a hospital or one's home. And what it involves is sending a qualified individual into wherever that individual may live to provide assistance with either a combination of activities of daily living, such as toileting, bathing, grooming, dressing, some light meal preparation, and so forth, to light housekeeping, some errands and companionship. It could involve somebody who's recovering from an injury, or it could be someone who has higher physical needs, such as those with Alzheimer's, dementia, strokes, or quadriplegics, for whatever reason. And it could be anyone from 3 years up to 103 or 104, depending upon the age. There's no limit on the upper age limit, but we don't serve a population under 3.
Right. And I think the one of the key terms you mentioned there as well was the companionship. A lot of people, particularly in their senior years, become very homebound, and just to have that regular companion can mean the world for somebody.
Well, when someone is left alone, for hours on end or days on end, they lose that socialization, which is critical to their health and well-being. We have seen a rapid deterioration in the overall health of an individual when they're what I call isolated from that social interaction.
Yes. And now, if somebody is saying, yes, okay, so I think that's right for my parent or for me, how do people go about finding a quality provider in their area?
Well, first off is I would start with the internet. And see what their websites all look like, because there's any number of search engines that can be used, and look at the website. Then ask your friends, your neighbors, and then call the agency and talk to them. See how they answer the phone, whether they're going to ask certain questions, whether they're going to respond and want to know about you and what's going on with the individual and the families involved. You can also check in North Carolina, the Association for Home and Hospice Care, as to which agencies happen to be licensed by the state of North Carolina.
And can you mention that agency again for us? That's the...
It's the Association for Home and Hospice Care of North Carolina, based in Raleigh.
And, okay, so if somebody's listening from another state, I'm sure if you phoned through to them, they may be able to direct you to an appropriate organization that's similar in your own state.
That's correct. Every state has trade associations for agencies such as Hearthside Home Care, and the reputable agencies that are going to belong to that trade association, because they advocate and fight for the rights of the clientele of the agencies, and they work closely with the state agencies and the federal agencies to maintain programs to make sure the funding is in place and so forth.
Wonderful. So, Roget, give us an example of a client, without using any names, but of a client that came into your facility, well, not into your facility, but was using your services, where through that you saw a marked improvement in their quality of life.
Well, we've seen any number of clients over the 14 years of existence that have improved their quality of life because they get a companionship, they have another support system in place. We have, for example, a quadriplegic who was in a nursing home for about 3.5 to 4 years after an automobile accident. And she was able to demonstrate to a government agency that with supportive help, such as from our agency, that she could live at home safely alone. She could operate a certain type of lifting device by herself if need be. She could, if an emergency, she could self-cath herself properly. She had enough movement in her arms to be able to do that. But from the day we started with her about 1.5 years ago, after she moved into an apartment, she's really blossomed back into her old personality and be able to function and to get out and about and be part of society as opposed to being stayed in a nursing home.
Oh, that's wonderful. So essentially, home care is giving more than just that care and companionship. It's also helping give people back, really return to dignity and give them back some of the independence that they may have once had.
Well, the key is helping an individual always maintain their dignity in self-respect, as well as giving them as much independence as they're capable of doing, even with Alzheimer's or dementia, which could be alcohol-induced dementia, could be vascular dementia, any number of reasons. Mm-hmm. But they still have dignity. They need to maintain their independence as much as possible. Just as there are individuals who as they get older, become incontinent and are forced to wear what we call incontinence briefs, incontinence pads, and so forth. They need to have their dignity as well in their self-respect. And even if you have to, some people will call them adult diapers. I think that's an insult to adults, as opposed to, calling it something else. And we train our staff to make sure the dignity is always in place for that individual.
And one of the things that I really like about just home care in general is that it helps people stay in their own home for longer before they need to go into some sort of an assisted facility.
Well, we feel that very, very, very strongly that there are many individuals can stay at their homes a lot longer with a little bit of help. We proved to a major health insurance carrier many, many years ago under a pilot program that we could keep people in their home longer, out of hospitals longer, with just a few hours of care every week when somebody goes, checks on them, helps them with their personal care 2 or 3 times a week so they get a shower or a bath, and kept them out of the hospitals. Because no one wants to be in the hospital on a regular basis, or worse still, no one wants to really be in a facility on a permanent basis. They'd rather be in the comfort of their own home,
Yes.
wherever that may be.
Roger, just to wrap us up, where do people find you on the internet? What's your internet address?
It's www.hearthsidehomecare.com. That's hearth like in fireplace, hearth, HEARTHSIDE, home care.
Wonderful. And the telephone number?
Is area code 336-808-1351 or toll free at 866-808-1351.
Thank you so much, Roger. If anybody has any questions, they can always contact you, I'm assuming?
They can always call this office, and any one of us here would be more than glad to answer them. They can also email us at contact@hearthsidehomecare.com. They can ask questions through the internet portal that we have on our website. They can follow us on Facebook. They can do any number of things to get a hold of us, and we respond almost immediately.
Wonderfully. Well, Roger, thank you so much for being with us today and filling us in on more about what home care is, how to find a quality provider. I'm Lee St. John, and this has been your Senior Moment. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks again, Roger.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.